lose their kindness. More advocates who understand that leadership isn't about being in charge, but it's about taking care of those who are in your charge. As his mentor and his former boss, and someone who has learned a thing or two from him along the way, I could not be more proud to introduce our current and next mayor, Brandon Scott. Thank you.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers. The truth. You can't handle the truth.
Welcome everyone to an special edition, December. We're rolling right along, The Outsiders. I'm your host, Sean Sims, and I have with me this week superstar Doc Cheatham, Marvin, Doc Cheatham. Doc, tell the people hello.
Hello and God bless you all.
Well, Christmas time is coming up. Had Thanksgiving, had some family down from Boston through New York. My wife's people came down for a little bit. Stay over. that was a 3-day thing, so that was interesting and fun, and hung out with the sister-in-law and my wife and the family, her family, and had a nice time. Doc, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was very enjoyable because I spent all day watching football and then letting football watch me a little bit.
Yeah, that's exactly what. All 3 games took on. All 3 games did the same thing, and like I'll start the intro. Yes, Brandon was inaugurated, and I was watching it. I'll be perfectly blunt. It looked like a scene from the Titanic when they were on the deck and they were dancing and music and festive while an iceberg had ripped the hull and they weren't aware of it. That iceberg, the FBI, there are things going on with that. Safe Streets, Monty, federal money, ARPA money, $641 million, millions and millions of dollars going out, and it did look like a scene from the Titanic. It's a Hindenburg. They lit the match. He's in again. And Doc, I don't know if you know this. I might have told you this story. I had inside information. Actually, I spoke to the source in regards to Sheila Dixon when she first got into office. Before she got into office, I told a few people, well, you know, it's not going to last long. One of my friends, Miss Denise, she has since passed away. And I explained that to her, and she's like, Sean. Because people don't realize, and she did, that was kind of strange. They don't realize the circle I run in and have run in. They don't get it. So anyway, I digress. I'm explaining to her and a few other people, I said, that's not going to last long, because I got it straight from the horse's mouth that if she runs for mayor, the whole stove, the kitchen, the oven's going to get dropped on her head. Straight from the source. Can't say from who. I'll tell you that later, Doc, off air. But and I'm like, wow. It was at a birthday party, and when the FBI went into Sheila's house, Miss Denise and I, we were at City View Grill and watching the TV, and she turned around, looked at me, and said, "How did you know?" How did you know? I explained it. But, and I'm saying this, a little birdie, some birdies, tweet, 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 tweet. Now, there's an ongoing bet to see how long Brandon is in office. Sheila got in, and then subsequently, indictment, and then, you know, she was gone. there are things going on, people. When you have the FBI raid your agency, when you have them do that, they've already got the goods on you. They can, and I saw the faces in there. They were smiling, and of course, smiling, grinning. I said I'm from Baltimore, but I'm not. Westmore. Raiding them coffers, almost $6 billion in surplus in the state of Maryland. He went through that money like a hot knife through butter. And now we're going to be almost $2 billion in debt in the state of Maryland. Smiling and grinning and just money going out the window like a sieve. Westmore. And some other folks were there, former Mayor Kurt Smoke. Okay. He was there, some other dignitaries, and hey, I want to play this, Doc, because this is gonna segue into what we're talking about. I want people to hear The Tale of Two Cities. You know Charles Dickens wrote The Tale of Two Cities, right, Doc?
That's right. Yeah, great book. I like that book.
Great book, Tale of Two Cities. You've got Brandon Scott. He's got this city, this imaginary city that's in his mind. It doesn't exist. Very low crime. It's a Renaissance city. It's growing and thriving. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant mayor. All not true. This Tale of Two Cities, and he's got this city in his head, and for some reason, he's calling the city of Baltimore, he's saying it's a Renaissance. Before I play this clip of what he had to say in his inauguration, let me explain something to you, Brandon. I don't know who's writing his speeches. I don't know if you understand the English language proficiently, even though Renaissance is French. So I digress on that one. Renaissance means rebirth. It's a growth, rebirth, cultural. People are getting smarter, more intelligent, art, articulating. That's not Baltimore. People are leaving Baltimore. They're getting out and leaving Baltimore faster than the rats are running into the Mitchell Courthouse building. They're getting out of the city. They're leaving. I'm looking at stats here. Baltimore named dirtiest city in America by online publication House Fresh. Doc, do you remember when Baltimore was named the dirtiest city in America?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. City taxes highest in the state. Baltimore city taxes are the highest in the state. Among the highest in the country. Population decline, which is what I just spoke of. And you've got moral, cultural decline. The education. Let's talk about a Renaissance. Want to talk about Renaissance, Brandon? Renaissance. Let me school you something on something. Let me school you on this, boy. You understand? Okay. There's a decline in Baltimore. There's no Renaissance. Education. Doc, did you know Baltimore City, out of 149 cities in the United States of America, Baltimore City ranks 146. Did you know that?
Oh, goodness. That's
146. WMAR2 News study done in regards to this. Crime. Out of 149 cities in the United States of America, did you know that Baltimore is the 5th most violent city? I think it's higher than that. Did you know? See, the Renaissance. See, that's what I mean by a tale of two cities. In his mind, in whatever world he lives in, this fantasy world, he's supposed to be, I guess he's married now and his kid is his, and now he's a new family man. Brandon, I know the real Brandon. I spoke to your friends, Brandon, that grew up with you in Park Heights. They gave me the 411, former squeegee boy, running around squeegeeing cars. That's what he did when he lived in Park Heights, among other things. Beta male getting slapped around, beat up at school. Oh, I got all of it. So I'm gonna go to this Renaissance man and what he had to say. And this is his inauguration, just part of it, just a clip, so people can get a gist of what happened. And those who are listening and watching on YouTube, listening on Let me go ahead and cue this up. Here we go.
Next, I'm delighted to introduce the Honorable Stephanie Rawlings Blake.
Family thrives in every community.
Stop. I've never stopped that fast on a clip. I've never stopped that fast. When he said honorable, let me explain it. I have to tell people, okay, Stephanie Rawlings, Brandon came in on her skirt tails, okay, along with Sheila. Okay, Stephanie Rawlings, when she went out there during the riots, Freddie Gray riots, and said, "Go ahead and take the neighborhood, y'all. Y'all can have it." Remember that, Doc?
Yeah.
Y'all go ahead.
She said that while she was in my neighborhood.
Yeah, dumbbell. Go ahead and go ahead. Y'all can go ahead and have it. One of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Okay, so I've got exactly what happened, and this was in real time. She met with the ministers, the pastors. One of them was Pastor Vaughn, good friend of the family. He actually took over Grace Memorial Church back in the day from my grandfather, who was the pastor. He took over as the next pastor. My grandfather started another church, his own church. Anyway, Corrigan Vaughn, God rest his soul, he's since passed. Pastor Vaughn has since passed. Corrigan told, in real time, called me up right after that meeting they had with Stephanie. Said, "Sean, she's gone. They're going to let her stay because of her daddy Pete. They're going to let her stay. But she cannot run again. She's gone." I got that in real time. And he goes, "Okay, well, honorable, whatever. But you got to hear the rest of this, people, because it's interesting, the little nuances and things that are said that other people, it seems like I'm the only one that picks up on this stuff, this backhanded compliments and things that go on. But Doc, I want you to hear, I want you to comment on this, what goes on next. Let me go ahead and hit it.
He is heard and respected. It's his vision that demands courage, tenacity.
His vision to lower the amount of police. There are less police on the streets now than there were before. That's his vision. Crime rate going through the roof. Anyway, let me continue.
A bit of audacity, all the qualities that Brandon has in spades.
Oh my. Spades?
Imagine for a moment what Baltimore would look like if we had more Brandons.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, imagine what it would look like if we had more Brandons. It would be it's already catastrophic numbers. I don't even want to think of that. Let's go on. I got to play this. Let's get through it.
News that came out today. As I stand on this stage today, the unique nature of this occasion is not lost on me. I am very aware that this is the first time in 20 years that Baltimore has given its mayor a second term positions. It is safe to say...
Now I got to stop that. Doc, did you pick up what he was saying when he said this is the first time in 20 years that the city of Baltimore has elected a mayor twice, the same person? Did you pick up on where he was going with that? It was a quick little slight on Sheila, Catherine, and Stephanie, because they didn't make two terms, remember?
Well, I can hasten to say I'm not one of those that found it educational or entertaining to watch that inauguration, so I didn't see or hear any of it.
Well, I didn't watch it either, but I'm doing, I got the podcast, I got a report on this. I heard some of it on the news. I heard him mouthing off against Trump and ICE coming in to remove violent illegal aliens and illegal aliens out of the city of Baltimore, and him popping off at the mouth that even if they remove federal funds, he doesn't care. If the city doesn't get any federal funds, he's going to protect the criminal illegals. I heard that. I heard him popping off. Okay, real smart move, dumbbell. You got Kash Patel coming in as the FBI director, and your agency is being investigated by the FBI. Then you're running your mouth. All this money went to this nonprofits, federal money. Did I mention Kash Patel's coming in? You got a problem, and then you're popping off at the mouth? You're just going to let violent illegal aliens stay in Baltimore City when ICE is coming to remove them? jackass. Gee, what an idiot. Let me go on.
That those three things are connected to one another. And it is safe to say that it took someone like me, confronted with a challenge like COVID-19,
He's a legend in his own mind.
to change the trajectory of instability that Baltimore was on. As many of you know, I began my public service because of the neighborhood where I grew up and the traumatic things that often happened there.
The traumatic things that happened to you because you were getting beat up, because you're a little punk, so they're slapping you around. Then they're running around chasing you because you're doing squeegeeing, so you're having issues. Yeah, I guess it was traumatic. Now you're a beta male bully in power and being a bully. I've heard about the bullying. Let's move on.
Everything we do. That seed my mom planted 3.5 decades ago about service and needing to take on responsibility to change our city is still there, growing stronger every day. Nurturing it and ensuring it continues to grow takes many hands. That is what we're called to do over these next 4 years. All of us coming together to grow this renaissance, to spur progress and see this fight through.
Researchers have been comparing the number of trash complaints filed in this city with cities in any other part of the country. And what they've discovered has earned Baltimore a new title of the dirtiest city in America.
According to the report, out of nearly 280 neighborhoods in Baltimore City, crime is up in almost every statistical category by nearly 80%.
Nobody wants them, nobody likes them, yet residents in the city have been fighting rats forever.
New accusations of improper grade changing have hit Baltimore City public schools.
Common?
Probably more common than you think.
Baltimore, you have to understand how deeply I love you. There are so many people in this room who are involved in violence intervention.
FBI raided the Safe Streets Bel Air Edison location of Bel Air Road earlier today. As you know, Safe Streets is Baltimore's anti-violence program. A spokesperson for the FBI tells us their agents were conducting, and I quote, court-authorized activity.
The brown eye to what it was. I believe is that our city government is financing a criminal enterprise. I believe that within my heart. Our city government is so invested in it that it's turning a blind eye to.
Baltimore, you have to understand how deeply I love you.
Why do you think some warnings were ignored? Why do you think there was some inaction and lack of communication? What's at the bottom of this?
The truth is that I don't really care.
Baltimore, you have to understand how deeply I love you.
Fox 45 News continues to follow Mayor Scott's controversial conduit deal with BGE. It comes just before the utility proposed a big rate hike for all BGE customers statewide, asking for a monthly increase of more than $10 a month. Now,
Baltimore, you have to understand how deeply I love you.
The truth is that I don't really care.
Baltimore, you have to understand how deeply I love you.
Law firm is suing Baltimore, saying its annual property tax sale auction is unconstitutional. Maryland Legal Aid filed a lawsuit on behalf of the Edmondson Community Organization, or ECO, who lost its headquarters in the tax sale in Baltimore. The city can take your home if you owe $750 or more in a tax lien. ECO owed $2,500.
Baltimore, you have to understand how deeply I love you.
12 Baltimore neighborhoods planning to sue the city of Baltimore over what they call failure to address food deserts. Fox 45's Jeff Abel joins us live right now with why some say they've been cut off from healthy food options for years. And Jeff, this is something we've heard from Baltimoreans, right?
That's right. You know, in many parts of this city, if you have no money and you have no healthy food and no transportation either. In fact, many neighborhoods are now going to court to change all that.
Leaving our community behind.
Without the convenience of healthy food, residents here are convinced their lives are at risk and insist there's no time to waste.
What happens is you keep eating salt and sugar and drinking liquor, your life expectancy goes down. We need a solution to this. No elected officials, whether they federal, city, or state, that lives in a food desert.
None of them. None of them. All the city council people, none of them live in the food desert. Federal, none of them. No.
Baltimore, you have to understand how deeply I love you.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
There you go. Do you believe, Brandon? Do you believe that this black man that speaks with forked tongue, do you believe he loves Baltimore? I don't believe that for a second. As a matter of fact, I did that montage. I had more. I said, I got to cut it down because of all the hypocrisies, the hypocritical claims. And Doc, what's going on with the food desert issue? That story was done by Jeff Abel, Fox 45 with the food desert. What's going on?
I was very pleased and thankful to Jeff and, of course, Fox 45 for airing it. I thought it was an appropriate time to let folks know that we have reached out to civil rights groups here in the Baltimore area, at least 8 of them. But more importantly, we reached out to the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. That's an organization many don't know, but they come and do a lot of legal things for us. They've been in existence since 1963, and it was John Kennedy who actually created that organization of national lawyers. And we reached out to them and asked them to possibly join other civil rights groups here in Baltimore to take on a class action lawsuit against the city of Baltimore. It's concerning the fact that in one area, the area that I live in, it's been 10 years since we've had a food market. We are the largest density community in the city of Baltimore. We have 36,563 residents. We are the biggest so far as population. But I'm sad to say that we're suffering in a food desert. And, you know, what we've done is we've reached out to them and let them know that we would like for them to consider under 2 areas that they deal with, dealing with legal things. So we're asking them to come and take a look. We have 8 communities and 5 apartments, all in the same general area in West and Southwest Baltimore that do not have a food market. We lost our food market in July 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm sad to say that another community just a few blocks up from ours, which is called West Lafayette Community, they lost their food market in the year 2000. That's 24 years ago. They lost their food market. None has come back. And, you know, what we're trying to do is to let folks know that the life expectancy of individuals who live in these type communities goes in the wrong direction. You know, we can applaud and be proud of 85% of the folks living in Roland Park live to 85 years of age. But sadly enough, in these areas like Matthew Henson, Cherry Hill, West Lafayette, life expectancy is somewhere between 65 and 70, at least 15 years shorter. And one of those reasons is they live and we live in a food desert. What is a food desert? And let me say this, folks, those that are listening, those that are viewing, please understand this. I'm not trying to let you know that I know anything better than you do, but I've experienced living in the food desert, and you have to know what is the meaning of a food desert. Just because you don't have a supermarket, that doesn't mean you live in the food desert. The city of Baltimore has defined a food desert as 4 things. 4 different things that you have to look at to say that it's a food desert in Baltimore City. The first one is the area that the food market was in is at least a quarter of a mile or more away.
Okay.
That's a person. A quarter of a mile or more. Unfortunately, our city councilman, James Torrance, was not aware of that, and he was about to go on a radio debate with me at the Afro because I was challenging him that he didn't know what a food desert is. Guess what? He didn't appear for the debate. I guess he found out that he didn't know what a food desert was. And this is an attorney. He didn't know what a food desert was. The second area, the second area deals with the federal poverty level. The federal poverty level. If your household is at or below 185% of the federal poverty level, that also makes you into a food desert area. 185% of the federal poverty level. I think this year, 2024, it's somewhere like $15,060. The third area, the third area is at least 30% of the households in your area have no vehicle. All right, that's a third area. Over 30% of the households have no vehicle. And then the last one, there are 4 issues. This is the fourth one. The average healthy food availability is considered to be low, which means you don't have a food market. The only thing you have is corner liquor stores or corner stores that sell a lot of sugar and a lot of salt.
There's a bunch of them.
Once you meet those 4 criteria, you consider yourself in a food desert. Ain't a damn thing about a food desert in Edmondson Village where they lost to John. Those are middle-class black folks that 90% of them have automobiles. None of them live in the poverty level. Edmondson Village, the Giant, was not in a food desert.
No, that doesn't match the criteria, so it is not a food desert. Like you said, you need all 4.
Now, sad enough, and I'll stop with this because I know Sean may have some interesting questions that I may have problems to answer because he's so intelligent, he makes it tough. We have 13, a combination of community groups and 5 apartments. It's really 8 community groups and 5 apartment buildings that are all in the food desert area.
Wow.
8 communities and 5 apartment buildings. Now let me give it to you. They're all in the same general area. They all suffering the same. Matthew Henson, which is the largest community in Baltimore, 1. Sandtown Community, 2. Winchester Community, 3. Now the first apartment building, Harvey Johnson Towers. The 5th area, Harlem Park Community. The next area is Lauren Apartment. The next area is Curry Apartments. The next area is Harlem Garden Apartments. The next community area is Midtown Edmondson. The next area is Bridgeview Green Lawn Community Area. The next and last apartment building is Rosemont Gardens. The next community is Northwest Community. And the 4th and final one, not the 4th, the 8th and final one, West Lafayette Community. There are 8 communities, 5 apartment buildings, all under the area of being in a food desert.
Wow.
Now, my community has been without a food market since July 10 years ago. When we look at the West Lafayette area, they've been without a food market since the year 2000. That means 24 years without a food market. Their life expectancy is 65.
Wow.
We go to Roland Park, life expectancy is 85. So I will close with this, folks. We have decided the largest community in Baltimore, which is Matthew Henson, we have decided we know that some of the communities might be reluctant because we have people like Antonio Hayes that will be vindictive and do something against the community if you go against them. Matthew Henson is going to lead the direction. We have reached out to the civil rights group, the NAACP, the National Action Network, the League of Women Voters, the American Civil Liberties Union, and about 4 or 5 more other groups, and ask them to at least think about taking on this as an issue. The basic thing is we're living in a food desert, and we should not be in that category. We've also reached out to what I consider to be the #1 civil rights fighting organization in the United States. It's called the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law. Our community last used them when we went and joined the lawsuit against the higher education for black schools, HBCU case. Mm-hmm. That was one of the lawyer groups that represented us. Matthew Henson has been involved in 3 class action lawsuits. Guess how many we won?
3.
We won all 3.
3 for 3.
We first filed a lawsuit against illegal arrest by Martin O'Malley in the Baltimore City and the City Council. We sued them both, the mayor and the City Council. Mm-hmm. Guess what? We won that lawsuit. We filed it in 2006. We won it in 2009. The next lawsuit we filed was almost less than a month later. We filed the HBCU lawsuit against the state of Maryland. Guess who won that case?
Did it?
We did.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third lawsuit that Matthew Henson took on his own, we filed a class action lawsuit against the 2 Confederate statues that are in Baltimore City. Guess what? They didn't even go to court against us. We won that case. Under Stephanie Rawlins Blake, who was there with the mayor yesterday, she was the one who finally approved it. It initially happened under, I think that was Kathy Pugh at the end. But we sued, and they didn't go to court with us. And I'm glad to say, God rest her soul, I love her dearly. Mary Pat Clark was a councilwoman, and she supported us going against those 2 Confederate statues. So, folks, in essence, we're living, many of us, at least 1/3 of the residents in Baltimore City are living and suffering in a food desert. We happen to be in the largest area with 8 community groups and 5 apartment buildings, all being surrounded by an area that has no food market. So, yes, we're going to seek a lawsuit against the city of Baltimore, and we including the members of the city council, since they all put in money to make certain that they continue to get paid for work that they did not do for 4 years. We included them in the request that we're asking for these groups to help us file a lawsuit, because guess what? And I'll close with this. No elected official, be they federal, state, or city, lives in a food desert in Baltimore.
Surprise, surprise.
City Council, House of Delegates, Senators, Congress people, U.S. Senate, none of them live in a food desert. So no wonder they don't know what the hell a food desert is. They don't know it because they don't live in one.
And they don't.
We live in a food desert here. We're going to fight. We're willing to give up our lives to fight, because the next generation should not be moving into an area that's a food desert.
Well, we
have too many liquor stores, but we damn sure don't have enough food markets.
Well, we had State Senator Corey McCray on The Outsiders about a year ago or so, and you spoke of the food desert, and he did talk about wanting to...
Corey's one of the ones that's outstanding. He understood the issue. No, he doesn't live in one either, but he understood the plight and what was happening to the people. So he was able to go about and get one for the people that needed it. There ain't nothing damn food desert about Reservoir Hill, one of 3 community groups in the city of Baltimore who started housing discrimination in America. Reservoir Hill, Roland Park, and Mount Royal. Those were the 3 community groups that would not allow more than 10% of blacks and Jews to live in their area. Yeah, I said Roland Park, Mount Royal, and Reservoir Hill discriminated against blacks and Jews, and they were the first ones in America that created what they call redlining today. But during that time, it was, don't let blacks and Jews live in Reservoir Hill. Reservoir Hill thanks to our light-complected state senator Antonio Hayes, who seemingly had problems with dark-skinned people. He's bringing forth a food market in the Reservoir Hill area.
What?
These are all middle-class
Wait,
black and white folks.
that doesn't make any
He's looking
sense.
out after them for a food market, but the community number of members of his family, they live in the Petty North area.
But he's not helping the black community with the food deserts. He's giving a food desert to a middle class, which isn't a food desert area per your 4 criteria.
No.
So he's not helping.
Any of those.
So he's not helping black communities that are in food deserts. He's not doing anything to help them. He's taking a market to an area. I guess it's about the money or who. I mean, what kind of... Yeah, I mean, Doc, I have to agree with you if he's doing that.
Sean.
If he's doing that.
Unbelievable. What this light-complected black senator is doing to the area that he grew up in. You know, he stopped the skateboard park.
He sure did.
He was one of those that filed a case against the squeegee board. Now, my understanding was that Brandon was a squeegee boy.
He was a squeegee boy.
That's a rumor on the street.
Yeah, it was. I knew people who grew up with him. Of course, they're around my age, a lot older than he is, but they watched him grow up as a kid. And, you know, I know he was a squeegee boy. That's what he did. That's what he did when he was a kid. I know he got slapped around at school, got beat up. You know, they told me. Look, Baltimore is a small city, okay? It's not a big, it's not New York, Chicago, or whatever. It's a small city. And Brandon's basic beta male, he wanted, you know, the bossing people around, being like a bully, not listening, hard-headed. And you know what? Before the fall, Brandon, pride. Pride comes before the fall. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. But when it comes to this food desert issue, speaking of Brandon, well, he's the mayor of the city. What meetings or what has he done? Obviously, he's done nothing jack squat. But what type of contact have you been in? You know, been with him in regards to helping the black folk? Because he said he loves the city. So I love the city of Baltimore. How has he shown his love to your neighborhood?
Well, I'm sad to say, you know, he appears to be a relatively articulate, intelligent,
I wouldn't agree with that.
African American. May not be getting the best advice that I think folks that are older and wiser than he is to assist them. But I can't say there's not an elected official that represents me, whether they're U.S. Senate, U.S. Congress, State Senator, House of Delegates, or City Council. I can't say that any of them have done anything for the largest community in Baltimore City that is suffering. We were once a Jewish community. A lot of people don't know the history of Matthew Henson. Matthew Henson was the Jewish area that was actually called Easterwood. Easterwood. And when 1945 came around and African Americans were coming back home from the war, the dividing line between blacks and whites was Fulton Avenue. And then at 1945 and on, for the next 10 years, blacks were moving into that community, the Easterwood community. Okay. And what happened was our Jewish brothers and sisters, a large percentage of them end up moving to the Park Heights area, the above Northern Parkway. That's when they begin to move there. And unfortunately, many of the things that were benefiting their Jewish community did not stay with them, and they end up going other places. So we're basically a community that's without many things that some people take for granted. Like, we don't have a bank. We don't have a laundromat. We don't have a senior center. We don't have a community action center. Some of the things people take for granted in Baltimore City, we don't have, not because we didn't try to get them, it's because we had them and they left when our good brothers and sisters left and went to the Park Heights area. So we have a listing of things that we need, and one of those Antonio Hayes lied about because he's been going around telling folks our community did not want a skateboard park. Well, on page 32 of a 64-page document printed by the city of Baltimore, it has a list of what the priorities of the community are, and it was voted upon by the community. And one of those items was a skateboard park. Senator Antonio Hayes, I'm hoping he will become a man and address this issue that he made a mistake.
Good luck with that, because I don't think he's going to. He was supposed to come on our show, and about a year and a half ago or so, he was supposed to come on.
I was looking forward to it. And I didn't even put my boxing gloves on.
He was supposed to come on the show, and he punked out. And I'm like, this is no man. If I'm going on somebody's show, hey, look, I'm coming on your show, and then he wanted a list of topics. That shows me you're a coward. I don't need no stinking list. Hey, anybody, you can invite me on your show. I don't need a list of what you're going to talk about. I can talk about anything under the sun. Anything. I don't need a list. When do you want me to come on the show? Okay, I'm not going to give you a hard time. I'm a professional. I'll be on time, and we'll have a great interview. And I'll end up probably interviewing you part of the time either. You think you're interviewing me, I'll be interviewing you. I don't have a problem with that because I'm actually a real man.
I'll say this, Sean, and that is that 2 years ago, we had the current governor, Moore, come to the largest what they call a pocket park. We have a pocket park in the 1500 block of McKean. It's an entire block, and we transformed it into a park. Well, we had Governor Moore. He wasn't governor then. He was running for governor. And we had him come, and he had his campaign signs up. And I like the guy very much. But one of the things that he did, he had a poster made saying that he would not leave us. I think that was one of his quotes being in the military, leave no one behind.
Oh, really?
Well, Governor Moore, you're leaving residents 3 zip codes, 21217, 21216, and 21223. These are the areas that those 13 entities live in and around where there is no food market. The one thing you said, Governor, you said and you promised you would do what you could to help us bring a food market back. And you stood on the very grounds where we want the food market. So we're saying, yes, we filing a class action lawsuit against the mayor and the city council. We have carbon copied at least 3 separate times to his #1 community person, Reverend Lawrence Walker, to let him know that, yes, we're suing the mayor and the city of Baltimore, but we're highlighting that you made a promise to our community. We have pictures of when you were in our park, that you were going to do what you could. All we're asking you to do, live up to your word. Live up to your word as a man, that you will come back to our community as you did 2 years ago, but this time to help us bring a food market back to a neighborhood that's suffering.
So let me get this straight. Wes Moore, who said on Oprah Winfrey's show, hey, I'm from Baltimore, which was a lie. Wes Moore smiling and grinning. He likes to smile like a Cheshire cat. He smiles and grins. He wasn't smiling after Trump won. Sorry about that, Doc. Gotta bring it up. And I'm still waiting for my case of Dr. Pepper.
All I gotta say, Sean, is God is my judge. My 3 10-packs of soda that I launched on the bet because you told me that Trump was going to win, and I lost a bet. My soda for you is sitting in my car. My car is right there, still in the garage getting fixed. But my sodas, I think one of them is sugar-free, the other ones are regular. But they're 3 10-packs of Dr. Pepper. Because I owe you, I lost the bet. I went on Facebook and said, I lost the bet. So you were a winner, Sean, without a doubt. And my soda's sitting in my car waiting to give it to you.
Well, thank you. I'll be eager to get it. And Wes,
I'll be eager to help you drink it.
yeah, okay, we can do that. That sounds like a plan. And
I
Wes,
love Dr. Pepper. It's good.
I love Dr. Pepper. Wes Moore, however, when Trump won, that smiling and grinning because that $1.5 billion for the key bridge that was purposely knocked down, as far as I was concerned, period. That money, I don't know. We're gonna get it now because sanctuary city with Baltimore, illegal immigrants, Brandon's popping off at the mouth. I don't know. He wasn't smiling and grinning so much after Trump won, and this thing where he got up there and did a campaign promise. That's what it was, Doc. He came to your park. He gave campaign promises. Obviously, from his lack of doing anything, he was too worried about raiding that $6 billion and getting out of those coffers than to helping black folks or to helping poor folks in a food desert. That was not his priority. And has he done, I'm going to ask this, because he was at Arena Players, again, smiling and grinning. This is easy to impress people, just smiling and grinning.
That's right, he did say that
yes.
at the activity.
Yes, he did.
He did, because you posed a question to him.
Arena Players, he's smiling and grinning, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna look into that, and that's a travesty. What's going on in the food desert?" And he gave his little speech. Wes, you don't impress me. I'm just letting you know.
I had forgotten, Sean, your memory is so good. I had forgotten all about it.
I didn't.
I think I was the last speaker that Senator Laura Young brought up.
Yep.
And, we gave the government accommodations. But he said that.
He said it.
On his own will and accord, said that he was going to help us.
He did.
So, all I'm saying, it's not over yet. He still has 2 more years. But we are now making it public. We want you to leave no one behind, like you said when you were in the military. Leave no one behind that's living in a food desert, Governor Moore. We're going to be knocking on your door shortly.
Yes, we will.
Getting arrested for trying to knock on your door.
I'm gonna get in contact with his people. I'm in contact with what's going on with the circuit court because I want to segue into this. Doc, you gonna stay for about 10-15 more minutes?
I'd be honored to do such.
Okay, I got to segue into what's going on because I am in contact with Judge Audrey Carrion's people. I'm in contact with them. Lionel Moore, who's the court administrator. Doc, I have to tell you that I want everyone to hear this on this podcast. Remember when you, myself, I believe Lawrence was involved, Linda, definitely Linda Batts, Mary Hughes, we were trying to find out who controls the building of the Cummings building and the Mitchell Courthouse building after that anthrax scare, and they locked them into the courtroom. They didn't let the people out. They locked them in.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I thought it was the Wizard of Oz because I don't think I ever found out.
No, we didn't. So I did make a call, and I made a call to Lionel Moore's office, the court administrator, who's been dodging and running from me. I'm putting it on record. Lionel Moore, the court administrator, who I had a conversation with, who explained to me when there's an accident in the circuit court, in the courthouse, when there's an accident that the sheriff is supposed to get a report, the Department of General Services is supposed to get a report, and he's supposed to get a report of the accident. Now they're ducking and dodging and covering up. All of them, all the officers, ducking and dodging and covering up. Sheriff's Office, Department of General Services, and Lionel Moore, who when I answer my call, emails nothing, so he's running. But anyway, with Lionel Moore, the administrator of that courthouse, I'll call him today, okay? This is the 4th of December, and I wanted to find out who controls that building, who's in charge of that building, who's the person. And the lady tells me, I guess the secretary, oh, that's the Department of General Services. They own the building. They're in charge of the building. I said, wait a second. Now, we tried to find out who is in charge of the building, and we could not get even Kevin Cartwright with the fire department.
Yeah, that's actually, we did a show.
We did a show.
You had me on that show that day.
Yes. And he said, we'll get back to you. And he got back and didn't even give us the answer to that question.
I lost a lot of faith and respect for Kevin as a result of that.
No one would tell us. Sam Cogan's the sheriff. Okay, they said he locked the people. Xavier Washington changed his name to Conaway. Okay, this kid, he no answer from him. He's running, ducking, and dodging. Coward. All these guys are yellow. They got yellow streaks down their back a mile long. They duck and they dodge. They run for elected office, make these promises. So today, his assistant goes, oh, it's General Services. So I ask her, well, who's the person? Who's in charge? Is it Lionel Moore? Who's in charge of that building? So again, she kind of he and hawed and said, well, it's the General Services. So I'm going to get in touch with them
Sean,
to find out.
Believe this.
What's that?
At 11:09 a.m. today, Wednesday, December the 4th, I'm reading my emails.
Mm-hmm.
It's an email sent to me. It said, good morning, sir. And the essence of it says the Baltimore City Office of the Inspector General has received your concern on behalf of Mr. Sean Sims. Yes, I communicated directly with her because I'm impressed with her work, and I find her to be a very able and intelligent and articulate person.
Yes, she is.
She said the matter is not within the Office of the Inspector General's purview. And as the Department of General Service is investigating it, she's putting this in writing, that they are in the process of investigating it. The Office of General Assembly is now being handled by the DGS, the Department of General Services, will handle it accordingly. If you want, I don't know whether or not the office sent it to you, but this is actually dated today at 11:09 a.m.
Well, I didn't get that. I didn't see it. Could you forward that to me?
You know, sometimes you when you get in a fight, you had the fight coming from different areas. So I knew I was going to be in the fight with you because we met with the people in the clerk's office, and I'm gonna forward it to you. But it's dated Wednesday, December the 4th at 11:09 a.m. And she puts in writing that it's actually under the DGS to handle it accordingly.
Okay, well, they got a lot to handle because they got a situation now, and I got to play this. And thanks, Doc. Thanks for that. And I'll call Isabel. I haven't spoken to her in a while, but I'm going to give her a call, give her a holler. But
I'm very impressed with her. Very impressed with her.
Yeah, she did a great, and I told her, I said, you did a bang-up job. You did a great job with the DPW situation. But I want to get to the other.
I have sent it to you while I've been talking to you.
Okay, great.
It came from a Richard E. Mitchell, MLSCFE-CIGG-CVS, Assistant Inspector General of Operations.
Okay, great. I'll look at that. I'll look at that later.
Got it today.
Today. But let me segue to what's going on at the same building. This is the Mitchell building. This is the Circuit Court for Baltimore. Judges are in these buildings, people. People go to these buildings, jurors go to these buildings, they go to pull records. I used to go down that building when I was in the mortgage business, abstracting to get information for mortgages because I was marketing and that's what I would do. But people go in those buildings and you got a rat infestation problem. As a matter of fact, I called the place, regional pest management, and they confirmed it. Yes. There's rats. They're fighting them. They're trying to cure the situation. They say they don't know when. I've been told that there are rats the size of cats.
Oh my goodness!
They're like Trump said, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the rats, they're eating the dogs and the cats. But anyway, no,
we shouldn't be laughing, but
it's ridiculous. It's bad. It's horrible. I hear that it's going into the jurors' rooms, going where the jurors go to court, and people are running around through that. And I heard that they were running through there during the weekend. I guess they were having a party. I guess they were having a Diddy party in the daggone Mitchell building with the rats. So let me go ahead and play this and cue this up. This was some years ago, but this gives a tale of what's going on.
Gross, smelly, dirty, germ-infested. We're talking about rats, folks.
And you can't forget huge, right?
Right.
What's the best way to get rid of them in Baltimore City? Well, the Department of Public Works may have figured it out. ABC News' Katrina Bush has the details on the new plan. Katrina? Well, Jamie and Kelly, the plan's on...
Wait, stop. Now, this is like 9 years ago. This story, I pulled it up. I said, wait a minute, because the pest control people, they told me that this has been ongoing in these buildings. But now, I guess because of the cold, it's getting worse. And they're coming in there, and they're saying that DPW, this report mentioned DPW. Didn't you hear of DPW?
Wow.
So I don't know if DPW has anything to do with this, or is this general services? Well, let me continue, because this is a municipal building. Maybe that's different, but who knows? Let's continue.
About being proactive, more inspections, more baiting, and even using data to track rat migration. City leaders say they're not just working harder, but smarter. It's hardly a problem unique to Baltimore City, but that doesn't make it any easier to deal with. Rats. Just the name makes you shudder.
Ew. It's just, nobody wants to live with rodents. We're not the Ninja Turtles.
I used to think they were like squirrels, and they are not like squirrels. They are horrid.
One area of the city at a time.
We're using the 9 police districts to basically blanket the city and try to go out there and bait every sort of rat burrow within every alley.
More than 12,000 alleys, treating each one every 20 days, coinciding with a rat's 20-day gestation period.
Every 20 days will be better than nothing.
Well, I don't know what they're doing at the Mitchell building or the Cummings building at the circuit court to combat these rats. That's an OSHA issue. That is occupational safe and health issue. It's unhealthy to be around rat droppings. Don't you know I heard they were chewing through the pipes and the flooring.
And rats, mice are scary, but rats are I guess, really life-threatening. The things that they do, the damages that they do, it's amazing. And it's sad that it took us this long. We couldn't get the information from the head of the clerk's office.
No.
Even communication. I guess he's
Nothing.
like Antonio Hayes. He's not man enough to come on a radio show just to have a conversation.
Well, he'll go on a radio.
Men should be able to talk to each other.
Well, he'll go on a radio show that used to be his grandfather's and call and say the judges act like the mafia. He'll do that. He'll attack the judge. It was an attack. The judges act like the mafia. They don't care about the people. I work with the judges. I know all about the judges. And I'm going, wow. I called Audrey Carrion's office and Terry Charles, their communication person in Annapolis, and to get a comment, and have not received a comment. I guess I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about that. But you do have the clerk of the court. And you have people working there. You have people going inside the building. Shouldn't the public be made aware that there's a rat infestation in any building, court building, municipal building? Shouldn't they be made aware of that?
Well, not only should they be made aware of it, but I would guess it would be appropriate to have postings warning folks, what to do in the event that they encounter a rat, because some of these rats, depending upon how they have been approached while they're in a building, Some of them get to be kind of scary as to what they do and how they run at you. They might be running away from you, but sometimes they don't know where they're running. And I really think a warning should be placed in the building to let folks know, please beware. But at the same time, there should be a massive cleanup project done to make sure that, you know, no one actually is harmed in any way, shape, or form by what the rats are doing or what they had done.
Yeah, you have to do the cleanup, and then it gets in the air duct. If they're going in pipes and chewing through walls and floors, so it goes airborne. This is OSHA. This is OSHA 101. You need to let people know what's going on. They're not wearing masks. They had the bird netting down for years. When bird poop was getting in, no one has said if they went in and cleaned up all that bird poop for years in the netting in the Cummings building. This Xavier Conaway, now I'm going to put it out there, this Xavier Conaway is negligent. This is a dereliction of duty. The netting being down all those years, not cleaning up, you can't get him to say anything. He is an elected official. All he does is run and hide behind his mommy's skirt. That's all he does. I don't know if he's in that office playing video games. From what I heard, on top of that, that there are allegedly cameras and recording instruments in his office so that the people don't even know they're being recorded. This kid's getting $120,000 a year, barely shows up for work. He calls the judges mafia. I mean, this is a really serious situation.
We will break this news on your radio show on Monday, December the 16th, from 5 to 7 o'clock p.m. We will have a major discussion at the Huber Memorial Church, Huber Community Center, 5700 Lock-Raven Boulevard, and the subject matter will be the injustices taking place at 4 city offices. First and foremost is the clerk's office. Second is the DPW. The third one is Recreation and Parks. And the fourth one is the Office of the Government Services. 4 city buildings will be discussed, and offices where people are working or at least suffering. We will meet there on the 16th. 5 to 7 p.m., 5700 Lock-Raven Boulevard, DPW, General Services, Clerk's Office, all going to be discussed on that day. The 16th is the third Monday in December.
Great. Is there anyone going to be there from any of the offices and agencies as far as the city council or any people who...
Well, they will be extended an invitation, but they're going to be asked to sit down and shut the hell up and listen, because we're trying to find remedies and solutions to these major injustices that have a responsibility of losing 4 people. They lost their lives working for DPW. Lord knows that could happen at the clerk's office. That could happen at Recreation and Parks. That could happen at Department of Government Services. That's going to be, folks, on the 16th, 5 to 7 p.m., 5700 Lock-Raven Boulevard.
Well, allegedly, Doc, from the people who have been working at that clerk's office over the years, I've been told that there have been people who, through whatever's in those buildings, Cummings building, the Mitchell building, that people were getting sick. They were retiring, dropping like flies from working in those buildings because of health issues. Now, this is what I was told. Allegedly, this is how may have contributed because of the toxicity in the air. Because all those years, those nettings were down and the bird poop was piled on the ledges and the windows outside and getting in the air ducts for years and years. And people were getting sick, and they had bed bugs in that circuit court as well. So I've gotten a lot of information over the years. I mean, I've known people who worked in that building for years, and I'm talking 25, 30 years, longer. I used to go there to visit Frank, and he would talk about his business prospects. I'd ask him how things were going, and so I mean, I've been going to that courthouse for one reason or another for a long time. And yes, I believe Moshe should do an investigation of the health issues, including the rats, bird poop that was in there.
I would say many of us, and I believe it probably includes you as well, had a lot of love and respect for Frank Conaway.
Yes, I did.
I don't mind telling folks publicly. Frank married me and my second wife. Actually, he was the one that married us, and it was actually in his building, and he did it. So I consider myself to have been a close friend of Frank, because he was the person that married me.
Well, I met him at Dwight's. Bob Ehrlich had a fundraiser running for governor. I met him at Dwight's place for the fundraiser. First time, we just clicked. Automatic. I said, this guy just clicked. And since that, until his death, we go to the office, visit him sometimes, and talk things over with him. And I tell you, and I'm saying that this grandson of his, I mean, an apple falling way far from the tree. He is a disgrace, and he's a bully, and the actions, the retaliation, the things that he is doing in that office is a disgrace. And I saw him at the inauguration swearing in Brandon, and I'm like, man, there's one rat swearing in another rat. Speaking of rats, two-legged rats, and I'm like, what? I mean, it's just a travesty that Baltimore has sunk to a decadence that is so low that you going from the people who came, a Kirk Schmoke and a Frank Conaway Sr., to a Brandon Scott bottom feeder and an Xavier Washington dumbbell bully. I mean, this is the situation we're in. But what give the address and time of that meeting that's going to talk about the clerk's office, DPW, and recreation and parks and the other office. What's the date?
I better give the title of the event appropriately, so Aunt Linda Bass will not get upset with me. It's called the Community Consortium.
Community Consortium.
Consortium is going to take place on Monday, December the 16th, from 5 to 7 p.m. It's at the Huber Memorial Church, the Huber Community Center. It's 5700 Lock Raven Boulevard. It's free. It's open to the public. We're going to break up into committees. We're going to be discussing 4 subject matters that are receiving injustices, inequities that are happening at the clerk's office, at DPW, at Recreation and Parks, and the Department of Government Services. Those will be the 4 subject matters. We will try to come up with solutions to problems and solutions from problems that haven't even been, exposed. That's 5 to 7 p.m., Monday the 16th, 5 to 7, 5700 Lock Raven Boulevard.
Okay, great. Who came up with consortium? I could have sworn I was talking.
Well, it may have been you and Linda.
I could have sworn I said consortium. I could have sworn when Linda and I were talking, I said, "Hey, we need a consortium of people." She might have said it. I don't know, but I'll talk to her about that. But anyway,
we'll share with both of you. All we gotta tell people: be there.
Be there.
All I gotta say is, you backstabbing folks that are working for the union and trying to do the union's cover-up, since they finally have been exposed that they've been collecting money for people for years and decades, but they haven't been giving them services. And now we got some sellout black men that are going around, promoting everything that they're doing. But we're going to expose them. That why you been in that union all this time, and now that 4 people that died, now y'all want to do something.
Now they want to do something. Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to be dealing with that as well. But, Doc, I'm going to tell everybody this has been the Outsiders podcast, and glad to have had you here.
You pulled me out of retirement.
Yeah, and definitely. But we're definitely going to do that. Again, Outsiders, and I just want everybody to know that we are going to keep doing what we're doing. And, Doc, take care. God bless everybody. And, Doc, take care.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.